The concept of nationality has always been something that I've battled with. My mother is Pakistani and my father is American Italian, and I've grown up in the UAE for most of my life. I am a product of a mixed marriage, and that has sometimes left me feeling confused because I never truly knew how to tell people where I was from. The older I got, the more insecure I got, and I was worried that people would think less of me. So, I found myself denying half of my ethnicity just trying to seek their approval. But I'm 21 years old now, and I think that's 21 years too long to be confused about who I am. And so the only way I know how to truly figure myself out is through the people that know me the best, my parents.
Look at all these pictures, huh?
Yeah.
Hi, Lee.
What are you guys doing?
How was traffic?
Fine.
Why do you have all these pictures up?
I don't know, I was looking at them. I like to look at pictures sometimes. Hold on, I look like Pikachu.
Yeah.
I'm glad you don't look like me, huh?
I did used to look like you. Was it different for you, Mom, living in the States?
Well, not really. A little different, but not really. Again, I think the family was there. We were there together. And we were with family. It was a different experience.
I remember
the dollhouse.
I remember going to school during this time, and then I remember Dad also leaving for a bit to come to Dubai.
Yes.
In fact, when you went to school there, they thought you were special because you had said Z instead of Z. So the teacher called us in for a special meeting because she thought you were a special child.
And you know what your teacher's name was?
Yeah, Miss Brainerd.
Brainerd.
Yeah, I remember her. But was it scary? Like not knowing what, in the sense where coming here and just not knowing about the.
Not scary, but I think we were just a little apprehensive. That would be the right word. Not scared. I don't think we were scared.
You didn't know what this place held.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah, so you're apprehensive
We
because
were
you're leaving
apprehensive.
things. You're leaving a certain comfort zone,
Yes.
right? But you're not scared. It's not like scared like you're going to fall off a building or you're gonna,
Change is the only constant, right? But it has to be for the better. But you have to take that leap of faith.
I'm still surprised as to how they reacted when I used the word scared. It was almost like I was silly for doing so. Maybe they didn't want me to see them feel scared, but I think it's completely rational to feel given their circumstances. If I was in their place, moving halfway across the world to a country I'd never been to or to a country that I had no family in, of course I'd be scared. I remember starting my first day in school when I moved to the UAE and being so scared because I knew no one in my class. But maybe that's just my personality. I tend to get scared when I'm out of my comfort zone, so if I was in their place, being scared would have been such an understatement. The only reason that we came here is because of my father's job. And so on my journey of self-discovery, I figured what better place to talk to him than the reason that we came here. And usually it's me that's always the center of attention. And so today I decided to switch things up and learn more about him.
For me, myself, growing up, I always wanted to live out of the country. I had felt that it was more intriguing, knowing that you had family members in other areas of the world rather than just in your same neighborhood or in the same city or in the same state or country. So I think like that, it's added to me and to my sort of understanding of working with different cultures and different nationalities and different religious backgrounds as well. Oh, people I think will always, especially at a younger age, people will always go after you regardless if you're coming from a different nationality, even if you look different, if you have a pimple on your face one day, or if you're looking, a little bit slightly different than someone else.
And sometimes people ask you where you're from, sometimes you don't say you're American.
Yes, generally when I'm traveling, I try to see what the news is like in the world before I actually commit to where I'm from. And if America has been involved in something that's been covertly or overtly in the news, then at times one may not say that they're from America, just to elude that conversation. Not that you're less proud, but maybe not as proud to be from where you're at that particular time.
So what about me, Dad? You get to pick where you're from depending on your mood, but can I do the same? You feel all the same things I feel. It was like I was listening to myself talk. But if I were to switch between where I was from, if I was to wake up and decide that I didn't like being from a certain place, depending on what I saw in the news, nobody would understand me. For me, my nationality isn't that fluid. You said that when you used to work, you used to travel a lot for work, right?
Yeah, I worked at the university and I traveled to quite a few different countries. And I met your mother while traveling.
So how did you know that she was the one?
You just knew it, I guess, when it happened, right?
How? When did you look at her and be like, oh shit?
She actually fell for me.
Was it like weird marrying, or different marrying someone from a different culture than yours?
Sure. But I think in one sense we were, similar in the sense that we both really had a lot of family around us and we grew up with family. Was it tough for you as a child, growing up?
I never really looked at it when I was growing up.
See, that's the
Right?
fun.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
did
as
people
you got
tease
older,
But as you got older,
Did people tease you in school when you went to school? Did people say, oh, look at her and she's so much different?
no, but it was more in the case where just because the way you would see certain people respond if someone else was to say where they were from, you certainly felt like they would judge you too. Just because it was I remember just thinking oh, I just wish I could just say I was from one place instead of having to go into everything, and explain it.
But not everything is for everybody, so maybe
Yeah,
you don't need to
exactly,
explain
but
yourself
so much.
Exactly, but then the whole thing comes where it's where are you from? And it's do I go off my passport? I personally, for me, yeah, I know I've lived here. I know I consider this place home, but I'm not from here. You know what I mean? So then I do have to go into it.
Yeah.
Especially when you're growing up and when you're not that confident in yourself, but it's just hard.
And over here now, I think you would find a lot of people in similar situations, right?
To an extent, because at least the people I met for the most part were never have. There's only a handful of people that can be oh, my mom's from here and my dad's from here.
Can you imagine?
But then there's a lot of people that are similar in the sense of where they've lived.
I wish I could just say I was from one place and get it over with. Growing up, it was very hard coming to terms with the fact that I was from two different places, especially because I wasn't very confident in myself to begin with. I was always overweight for a large portion of my life, so being accepted played a bigger role because I looked for validation in others. And sure, one might say that I was looking at it from a very negative point of view, but at the time, I felt scared to tell people where I was from because I feared judgment and I yearned for their approval. So I think it's easier for my parents to just assume that it makes me different. Because yeah, it does make me different, but at the time, when I was younger, the last thing that I wanted to be was different.
Let's start. Where's C?
Here.
Put the first finger on that.
Wow!
That's the river flowing. You just played this note right here.
What would my culture be?
It's a mixed culture. It's a mixed culture. And then you've enriched it with all the other things that you also live in a country where there are so many different cultures, so many different languages. So you've enriched yourself with all of that. So it's like a salad bowl.
I'm saying in terms of just me personally, I don't really feel when I look at people in university that are just their parents are both Pakistani and stuff, I don't relate to them.
Yeah, but that's good.
And it's just because
Okay.
I've never I don't know.
But people are just
No,
people. What's the big deal about cultures? I don't
I'm
understand.
just saying that growing up, I don't feel like we were very immersed in that.
No, because we had a mixed culture and we lived in a place where there was actually again, that many different cultures. So your culture is in your home. This is your culture in your house. Okay, in doing the right thing, in standing up for the right thing. In terms of family, yes. I mean, yes, I do feel we missed out because we don't have family on either side. And then your friends become your family, I guess. Yeah?
Yeah.
And?
Like, see.
Do you feel you missed out on anything?
Just family.
Yeah.
Because, like, yeah, you go back and you see them,
Yeah.
but it's always, like, you're not close to them really, right?
Yeah. So you are different. I mean, you have to accept that. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's really, imagine how much you've been enriched on both ends rather than just having the same kind of a setup, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe you've benefited from both sides. You've got the best of both worlds. Maybe look at it like that.
All my life, I spent fighting who I am, and I kept trying to deny it. But in denying it, I was denying myself, and I was denying my parents. And the outcome was never pretty. The words, people are all the same, and there's nothing wrong with being different, made me question why I ever put so much emphasis on nationality, as if that's the only thing that defines me, when in actuality, I'm more than a passport, and I'm more than a race. I don't know if it's me maturing or me being surrounded by individuals who celebrate my differences, that I realize that I am me, and being me means that I am different. And I take pride in that now, because the exact things I resented when I was younger are the things I appreciate most now. I have been enriched with so much culture from 2 different continents that I can appreciate different traditions and people, and I'm not sure if I'd be able to say the same thing had my circumstances been different. So I know that I'm not completely American, nor am I completely Pakistani, but I am where I'm supposed to be, which is right in between.